At this point, I want to welcome on podium, handing over the mic to S. William, very renowned trainer and lover of safety. Thank you and welcome on board.
You forgot lover of Africa in your presentation. Jesus.
Lover of Africa.
How can you forget?
And the wife of Africa. Thank you so much.
I'm an Igbo wife.
Yes.
So that brings me already to some of the things you need to understand from me. I will try to make it more African for you, but I know Nigeria better than other countries, so my apologies for those of other countries if it isn't completely the same, just as everything in Europe isn't the same for every country in Europe, because for example in UK you have different set of rules than in Belgium, and I guess in France as well, but we will discover some. Maybe the approach is different, but the global rules, as we spoke of it yesterday, is the same. We follow the ILO, the International Labour Organization, in some things, and almost all countries are subscribed to that. So that is a global thing, as we as I said yesterday, I think, or the day before. So I call this my extraordinary league, because it takes a special person to be here. You are not here by accident. You are here because you are the best person to do this job. So my name is Els Willems. I'm from Belgium. I'm married to a Nigerian, as I already said. And I've worked 22 years for a car brand, this Japanese car brand. So I had some cultural interactions there. I also worked for pharma vigilance company, pharmacovigilance company. Is it like that? Vigilance company. My apologies. I also did some in energy. I'm now working for road assistant of Scania trucks. So my life is a lot about safety and health and all the attached technologies. So I'm also a life coach. I don't like the expression because I want to call it a personal supporter, because I believe that is something we all need: more support and more confidence in who we are, the unique personality that we have, the unique knowledge that we bring to the world, because our perspective is very unique as well. So nobody can bring the knowledge you can bring to the world as you can. So if you, but this is already, you saw me kicking out people yesterday. If you do not have the respect for yourself, for the trainer, and for others, to mute yourself and do not disturb the class, then this is no place for you to be. This is a serious business. Health and safety is a serious business, and we should approach it like that. So I already said sometimes that this is a mission. We save lives before the danger, so we are preventing things from happening. And we saw that very clearly in the COVID episode, because yes, the doctors and the nurses were there to treat the damage when it was done, but a lot more people would have been hurt, would have gotten sick if there were not prevention officers that made you wash your hands and hold your distance and things like that. So this OSHAssociation course, as said before, we bring extra value with by sharing our own experiences, by sharing a lot of things that you cannot learn in the classroom. That is daily life experience. You, of course, if you are here and you are just following this course for the first time, this is the first course you are following about occupational health and safety, or health and safety in general. This is all new to you, and you will not have that many experiences to talk about, but you can share ours. So as I said, I'm a trainer, I'm a coach. I strive to be the best teacher and the best coach, and that means that all my pupils have to exceed me in knowledge and professionality. So if you do not understand something, ask. And I mean ask. Do not take satisfaction with an answer that you didn't, to a question that you didn't ask, because our focus, just as we are unique beings, each and every one of us, we are focused on different things, and it may not be the same part of the question the person that answers the question is focused on. So keep asking. This is your time, and your time is valuable, more valuable than money, because you have only limited time and you don't know how much time you have. So I appreciate you for being here, for taking this course. You deserve to have good value, and that is what we stand for. Any job you do should be filled with passion. You should not just be the best technical person or the best the person with the most theoretical knowledge or something. You should really have passion and breathe and live what you do, whether it's this thing or another thing. If you are done with this course and you realize health and safety, that's nothing for me, then okay, that's fine. That's a step forward, because you now know this is not your thing. But whatever you do it with passion. It's like when a person sings, you can be a technical good singer, but people will really be in awe, as they say, when you sing with passion and you really feel the feelings through it. So I require you to be pushing your limits of what you think you do best. So I'm from Belgium, a very small country. I put in the map, but I can't talk too much about it because I talk too much. My course is, my slides are too elaborate to extend too much. They stole some time from me. I actually want to have a weekend with you, a day and night, so I can teach you everything I know. But Engineer Walaka says I'm the queen, but he still rules. So unfortunately, we have to go through some things a little more quickly. So in Belgium, we have, and I need to adjust this because this is a few years old already. Probably there are more than 49 titles meanwhile, because everything is always growing. There are new technologies that need new safety guidelines and so on. But this is in Belgium, we have a codex with 10 books, and then it includes electricity, but electricity has a whole library actually, since a few years. So it is, a very elaborate thing, and this is what we should build everywhere in the world. As said, everybody should know about safety and health, because we are surrounded by risks, and we should make risk assessments every day in our life, every moment in our life, which we actually unconsciously do, because you also make a risk assessment when you are going for a girlfriend, boyfriend, wife, husband. We make risk assessments. Are we fitting with this person? What is a good thing about it? What is a bad thing about it? We do a risk assessment naturally. So actually, we should be doing it more aware. So this is only a guideline. I take the 7 fields of safety and of well-being, but some have 5, some have 9, whatever categorization you take. There are several ways to look at it. I took this one. So the 7 fields of safety and health, of well-being. In Belgium, by the way, as I said yesterday, we are just a prevention advisor. And every company needs a prevention advisor. This is by law. Even when you are one person that has a company and the only person that is working there is you are the prevention advisor. So depending on how big the company is, the bigger the company is, the more prevention advisors you need. That's all defined by law. But we are we do not have authority. The authority still lays with management. We can only advise them to do something, and they decide whether they are going through with it or not. So what we need to do is convince people, not only in the management, but also in for our employees. As the questions came yesterday, we are going to elaborate more about it later. So we know all these things: safety, safety equipment, and so on. Fire safety tomorrow. Please do yourself a favor and be there, because this teacher is really, he's a god. To me, he's a god. I just want to encourage you to be here tomorrow. You will learn a lot of things, and fire safety is a fun thing to learn about, and especially in the way he brings it. So health, biological agents like flu and COVID-19 are amongst them, but also the clean environment, first aid, and so on. That's all connected to health. As you will see, there are some categories that will overlap. Environment is not only waste management, but also temperature and the draft I was talking about yesterday, and so on. The air quality in and outside the office. There are rules for the air quality outside, but there are also rules about the air quality inside the office, because you have pollution. You have like in Africa, a lot of times air conditioning. Is it cleaned every now and then? Because the air quality can be harmed by that. How many printers and copiers do you have in your office? Because they also emit harmful material in the air. Hygiene, if you have a dirty job like working in a factory. I've got a friend, and I will talk more about him later, who works in our sugar factory in Belgium, and he's always sticky because of the dust of the we produce beet sugar, by the way, not cane sugar. We produce beet sugar, and then it is a good idea to have some place to wash up before you go home. Especially, and Mr. Christophe will also be able to testify that, for example, in the chemical world, that is also an important thing. There are some historical cases where the powder that people working in chemicals bring home are very harmful to the people's health, not only the employees that work there, but also the persons that they live with. Ergonomics we talked about already. I am a big lover of movies, and the founder is actually about Ray Kroc, the person that has commercialized McDonald's. The brothers McDonald's are not the owner of the chain. They just had one shop. But in this movie, you can see how ergonomics work, how they improved the productivity, and actually, therefore, by making it smaller movements, protected also the human body. As said yesterday also, if you have an experienced person in the workplace, and this is one of the things you can convince your management with, if you have an experienced person in the workplace and he has a bad back or she has a bad back because of the work she does or he does, and they have to retire earlier because they cannot work anymore, or they cannot work anymore because their back is so broken that they cannot do the job anymore without being in awful pain, then you are missing an experienced person. This experienced person who works let's say 100% will have to be replaced by a new person that is maybe 20% of productive compared to the experienced person. Plus you have to put somebody that is experienced next to that person for 6 months or something to teach them how to perform the job, which means you are having two persons who work maybe at 40% each, to replace that person that worked 100%, and you're already missing 100% from that experienced person that is teaching the new person to work, how to work. So that is a big loss financially. That is important to management. You will have to learn about the human ratio, so the human feelings, also emotions, also in different functions, because that manager that is maybe really strict on the work floor maybe is a completely different person in his private life to his family. So the function will be significant also. So if you find it, The Founder is one of the movies, interesting movies to watch. Actually, I am against all these people that are saying, oh, you are wasting your time with Netflix and Iroko TV. It's Rock TV now, I guess. I don't have it anymore. They don't. I cannot get the app, the Iroko app anymore in Belgium, so I'm missing out. You just watch whatever movie you enjoy. If you like movies or series, you can learn from everything. I always say you can even learn from a movie that has zombies in it. And they then tell me, what can you learn from a zombie movie? Well, they are creatures that do not think. And we do have, human beings, or, something that looks like it, who don't think, and we will, unfortunately, maybe will face them in this world. So it's a good idea how to make sure that you fantasize, think about how to fight a zombie, because we have terrorists in our life. There are terrorists, and they are doing something for a reason we don't necessarily understand. And for us, they are not thinking clear. So how to act when a person like that is coming up to you is important. And that's, for me, why it is ludicrous to say YouTube and Netflix and so on, watching all those things is not productive, not profiting. You are not profiting from it. It depends on how you use the tools in life. I'm sorry, I'm always messing up with the dials. So beautification means that these people that are working in this company, they are spending 8, 9, 10 hours in the workplace. So it's nice to make them have them bring something homely into the office or into the workplace, like a picture of their family or a plant or some colors that make it more comfortable to be at the workplace, which will encourage them to want to be at the workplace. If it's all dusty and ugly and everything personal has to be voided from the workplace, they will not like to be there, and they will want to run to come home. Another movie here with the singer with the big boobies, Dolly Parton, is a very old movie already. I can say that because I'm getting old too. That is also about health and safety at the office. A nice movie to watch. Dolly Parton, by the way, is the one that wrote 2 songs that Whitney Houston covered, just to place her for who doesn't know her. Psychological aspect. This is my specialty. This is my expertise, because I'm at the end of this month, I'm turning 49, and I have been observing, studying human beings from when before I can remember. My mother has stories that I don't remember anymore, but even when I was a toddler, I was talking to people at the park and so on, all elderly people and grown-up people. I have been born to do this. So stress is one of my favorite things to talk about. You've got all the things attached to it. You've got bore out, which means that you have not enough challenge on the workplace and you get depressed from it. And then you've got burnout, which is the opposite. You have too much stress, too much challenge, and you are burned out. You get burned out because you don't know where to start, and so on. So what I said yesterday, or the day before yesterday, even in Africa, there is a lot of stress and we don't realize it. And it has been the same here. We're really not different from your country. Yeah? A lot of people still are here, still are stuck. And it's getting a little bit better, but it takes a lot of time to get from one place to another. I was brought up with the idea that burnout is something for people that are weak. That was when I was younger. I heard that all around me, and until I got burned out, until I got depressed, and I've really went into deep depression. So I'm happy to have been there, because now I understand what it means, and it is not so easy to understand what it means if you haven't been there. Then you have presenteeism and absenteeism. Absenteeism means that people are staying away from the workplace, but I also see this in schools, for example. We tell when one of our children doesn't want to go to school, we say they are school tired, but actually they are facing burnout, bore out, bullying, aggression. All those things come into primary schools even. So it's important to pay attention to your children too, if they don't want to go to school. If you have to drag yourself to work, there is something wrong with the dynamics at the workplace. Presenteeism is even when you are sick and you have a fever and actually you should be in bed fighting the illness, you still go to work because you're afraid to lose your job, for example. So that's a few counters. So we have health and safety culture. This is what this course is about, and we are talking about culture. Now, what is culture actually? Culture is the perspective of most people in a group. That is a culture, actually. How most people think things should be or things are. That makes what a culture is, actually. So if I go back to Nigeria and we are talking about Nigerian culture, I hear a lot about Nigerians are competitive. That's Nigerian culture is they're all competitive people. And one thing about competitiveness, actually, cooperation defeats competitiveness always. If you work together, you will reach far more than when you are competitive. So but it's interesting to see those differences where the focus lies in another culture. By the way, as I said, since my husband is Nigerian, there is not only the difference between, the misunderstandings between man and woman, but also the misunderstandings between cultures. Like I would never think of such a thing that when I want to ask my husband's uncle something, I have to talk to my husband first about it and not directly to my husband's uncle. That's something that is strange to me. I didn't know if it wouldn't have brought us to a fight. We had a fight about it, and then I understood, there is a cultural difference I didn't see. So that's an important thing to know when you are working with people, because this is a job, you work with people. That's the thing you should know. Health and safety is about people. There are accidents, but the aim for us is to get to a point where we protect the people, not necessarily the machinery. Yeah? The machinery can be replaced, the people cannot be replaced. And this brings me later to how to convince an employee to follow the rules. So, as I said in the former slide, you have presenteeism, where Yeah, okay, let's go this. Yeah, so you work with people. I'm sorry. So there are 4 major characteristics of safety culture, and those are positive and negative, and then you have proactive and reactive. We want to come to a certain kind of safety culture, namely which is proactive and positive, because then you get to prevention. So the question in the chat about I'm an operator, I'm not a safety officer. Is this course going to bring me something? Is it something for me, or am I in the wrong place here? Now you can see this small thing here. A chain is only as strong as its weakest link. And this is something we have to understand, not only in Africa, also here, because Mr. Uwalaka, Dr. Uwalaka talks about Africa as if they are lesser, but there are so many people stuck in this Western world here. There are so many people that are not aware of a lot of things, not aware of safety and health, not following the rules also. It's just a human thing. We are all humans and it happens everywhere. But that's a story for another day, how they approach health and safety in Belgium. The law writers, I can tell you stories about them. So a chain is only as strong as its weakest link. If you make the weakest link stronger, the whole chain will be stronger. So that means that you as an operator, whichever link you are making yourself stronger. And we will get to leadership by setting the example, by changing your way of approaching things. You will give an example to the other links in the chain, and they will learn by observing what you do and observing your better results, and they will be inspired. So this is knowledge that I give extra normally for the people that are on time. But I'll do it now. So there are 3 ways that people learn. There is shock, there is admiration, and there is repetition. And repetition we all know because we all do it in class. We all have to repeat our knowledge that we get taught in class, in a classroom. They keep repeating, letting us repeat it and repeat it and repeat it until we dream it. So that is one way to get people to learn something better, hopefully. And then you've got admiration, and this is where that fits your role as an example, as an advocate of safety and health, because you are presenting yourself in a certain way, and people will see your better results. They will want to follow it, and they will get to be interested in safety and health. And this is, people, why we need people like you, why I call you my family, why I welcome you in my family. If you have a question, contact me, ask me. I will be there for you. Maybe not immediately, because I have a lot of other things that I'm doing as well, but I will reply to you. And the 3rd way is shock. And that brings me back, actually I'm messing up my presentation, but that's so okay. That brings me back to that person that works in the factory. And this is something you can use also in your way to convince employees to follow the rules. So he's working in this sugar factory, and he said, yeah, we have all those toolbox meetings and so on, and courses, and it's all theoretics. But at a certain point, somebody visited his factory, and he came to speak about his own experience. And it was a guy that also worked in a factory and didn't follow the rules. And by not following the rules, by wearing loose clothing or jewelry or something at moving parts of a conveyor band, how do you say that, conveyor belt, or something like that, his arm got ripped off. And while he was speaking to the persons that worked in that company, to my friend also, he said we could see him sit there and his arm was gone. So people think in images. If I say tree, you do not think the word tree, T-R-R-E-E. You think about a specific tree, and maybe it's a pine tree, maybe it's a mango tree, maybe it's, I don't know, a cashew tree or something. It's a different tree. You see a tree, not the word tree. So images speak so loudly to people. So in a negative safety culture, you've got that presenteeism where the people turn up at work sick, infecting other people with their germs because they are afraid to lose their work, because safety and health is not talked about enough and not put the emphasis enough on by the management. So that for example, that is an example of a negative culture, safety culture. So a positive culture is where you are encouraged to follow the rules, and where the manager says to you, it's important for me to, you are important to me. Because in fact, if you see what a company is, a company exists of employees, and the employees are productive, and with that product or services, the company makes money. If there are no employees to do the job, then the company doesn't earn money. But it works the other way around too. You as an employer get a salary. And if you do not do what is good for the company, maybe next month there will not be a company anymore because they didn't make enough money, or they have to fire a few persons, and maybe they get you fired, or maybe the company ceased to exist, and everybody has lost their job. And who is going to take care of, where are you getting the salary from where you supported your family with? This is one of the things you will use to convince people to follow the rules and do their best and follow guidelines. So, but more about that later. So reactive means an accident has happened, and because an accident has happened, you make measures to improve safety and health. Proactive means, you use your imagination, you use your experience, you use your knowledge to know that this is a risk. You make a risk assessment. This is a risk before anything happens. New machine comes in, immediately you make a risk assessment. This can happen. You do your research. You're going to check what happened in other companies. Were there any accidents where we can learn from in other companies? And then you make your guidelines and safety rules and user guides before something happens, so nothing happens, which is proactive, which means prevention. So one important thing about safety and health. People have died because there was not enough safety and health guidelines. And that is actually a sacrifice. I am at this stage that I don't believe there is good or bad. There only is. Because those people died, and that's a bad thing. But those people died for us to learn from and to make sure nobody ever has to die for it again. So it's important to look at where it comes from. And this is also the reason why I'm a sucker for air crash investigation, which is a really elaborate thing. And my colleague from France should know the most important research organ is in France, actually, but I forgot the name. But it's such a nice example about how safety guidelines and so on are formed and are built, and it's such a straight line of what we are doing here. So if you are interested, it's my unfortunately this year, especially in America with American planes, there were a lot of crashes. There were more crashes already, I think 2 or 3 times more crashes in this beginning of this year than there was in last year in total. I think last year in total there were 20 or 30, 20 to 30 somewhere, and I think we're at 75 or something up to now in 2025. All consequence, I think, because of some measures that were taking away, safety officers and so on that got fired because there is a new boss in town in America. So, but that's a discussion also for another time. But it is something you can observe right now and you can learn from it. You hear me say learning a lot. It's about learning, people. It's about becoming a better person every day, becoming a better safety and health professional. You have to learn. It's a joyful thing that you can live 150 years and still haven't learned everything that there is to know, everything that we know as a humanity, as humankind even. There is much more to know, I'm sure. So there are 7 main characteristics to a positive safety culture. That is the atmosphere, the role of supervision, involvement, dynamics, communication, leadership, and positive approach. Again, things that will overlap in some ways. 3 key factors: communication, responsibility, and proactiveness. The atmosphere. So, as I said, the presenteeism is a good example. This girl I worked with has 2 daughters, and her eldest daughter was sick, and she got, because that's how it goes here, you go to the doctor and you ask for permission to stay home with your daughter because your small daughter needs care. And she had received a permission slip for 2 days that she could be excused from working. She gave that to the bosses, and actually the illness was not done after 2 days and a weekend. Usually the weekend is included. And she had actually another slip from the doctor to stay 2 more days at home to take care of her daughter. But she was so afraid to show it to our management. And I told her, because I was a prevention advisor there, I said, our management, they will tell you, yeah, sure, take care of your daughter and take care of yourself. So it's not only the culture within the organization, but it's also the culture, as I mentioned many more times, the emotions, the culture, the belief systems, or the bullshit, it's BS anyway, belief systems, that you bring from home, that your parents were also afraid not to go to work when they were sick because they would lose their job, and not taking into account that we have evolved in these matters, here at least. So a solution is communication, making sure that your management will emphasize that health and safety is important to them. Of course, because it will cost them money if somebody has an accident in your company. Not only money in the sense of payment to that person if it comes to a lawsuit where the person was, for example, not informed by fault of the company, but also the image, even when they were not in fault. they will when the person was informed and that they shouldn't wear loose clothing with a conveyor belt, but still did it because they wanted it to, they have a different focus, and they get an accident, and then it comes in the news, yeah, this company had an accident again, and it's not good for the image, and they will lose clientele, they will lose contracts, they will lose a lot of opportunities to make profits. So this is not convenient for a company. That is why your management should pay attention, and that is what you should put in their heads in a nice way, of course. We talk to people in a nice way, not in a blaming way. The role of supervision, as said yesterday, safety at work is everybody's business. Everybody should take care of safety and health. If you are at a workstation, putting something together, mounting something together, and next to you is another workstation, and this person is doing the same job as you, and they're not doing it safely, and you see that, and you don't speak up, and they have an accident, and you see it happen, you will blame yourself for the rest of your life for not speaking up. You will have to live with the guilt, and that is something you will have to learn as a safety professional as well. You have to protect your own sanity. You have to protect yourself from feeling guilty. That's why you should not be afraid to speak up, because now you're following this course. You already have more knowledge about safety and health than most people in your environment. So don't be afraid to speak up. Be curious and keep learning, and be humble and listen to other people that you may learn something from, whether they are 3 years old or 100 years old. I don't care. You can learn from everybody. As I said, you can even learn from zombies. But do not think that you shouldn't speak up because maybe you will get fired. If you get fired, fine. At least you have your self-respect, and you will not feel guilty for not speaking up. You will have the liberty to look yourself into the mirror. But not only that, if you don't speak up and the person at the workstation next to you makes a mistake and something explodes or something, you are at the workstation next to it, so he can harm you for not being safe, not working safe. It can happen. So it's important to speak up. I'm admitting some people meanwhile. Knowledge is a very important thing. Involvement, so communication. As a safety and health professional, you should also talk, and I said this before too, you should also talk to the people involved with the job. If you are going to assess a risk, you should be there on the work floor and talk to the people who are doing the job, who know from their experience that you may not have, what are the problems of that workstation. And that's gathering information. You need to involve employees, and you will talk to them, and they meanwhile will see that, oh, you know, this safety officer is interested in what we think. You ask for their solutions. What do you think is the solution? Do you think there can be improvements made, and what are they? Then we can consider them and see what we can do. And people will say, this person, this safety officer, they're really kind. They're really interested in me. And as you will see later in my presentation also, a happy worker is a good worker. If the employees think the management cares about them, you care about them, they will appreciate you more, they will respect you, and they will willingly work for you, being more productive, doing their best, not only to have their salary, but because they like that they are surrounded with people that care about them. And I will tell you some techniques more to gather to gain their trusts. So you have to understand that you have to be a polyglot. Polyglot means you speak a lot of languages, and that doesn't mean that you speak a lot of words or really languages. We've got one of our trainers, Mr. Sami, knows how to sign language, for example, because there are not only people that are hearing, but there are also people that are not hearing on the work floor. There are also blind people on the work floor, and maybe some of you would say, what can a blind person do? They make excellent listeners, so put them in a call center. Why not? There's enough technology to enable these people to work, and they are as far as I can tell, I know some people in wheelchair, for example, that are more active than the people that have no handicap. If we shouldn't call that like that anymore, disability, I don't know. They are more able than the able people I know, than most of the able people I know. So, for example, also I have had a cleaning man who was illiterate. So I could write things down, but he couldn't read them anyway because he was illiterate. So I made guidelines with photographs for him so he can follow, with tick boxes that he can strike off when he did that, when he did what the picture showed. So you have to be aware also that you're not only talking to cleaning personnel, you're also talking to accountants, and you're talking to business people and so on. You need to understand they have a different perception, a different focus, a different approach of things, and you need to put that in your conversation as well. You need to become, how is that called when you turn quicksilver into gold? It will come to me. The word will come to me. So you have to be very flexible and know who you are talking to, and talk in a manner that they will understand. For example, most women are not so interested in football. I am, and I know a lot of women that are too, but you cannot explain something in terms of football to some women, because they are more interested in cooking, or they are more interested in hair and makeup. You use terms of cooking and hair and makeup if you want to make a point. Also, if you talk to an accountant, in the function of an accountant, they will understand if you talk about million naira or 100,000 naira, but most people will not have seen that million, cannot imagine a million naira. We also talk but also the accountant as a human being can see it in the concept of their business. They know what a million naira does, but in the concept of their own life, it's an abstract factor. So it's not a good example. Money is an easy way to explain to people, but you have to realize that some people will not understand you when you are talking about big amounts. They cannot, because they cannot imagine it. If we talk about this building is really, really big, we're not putting how many meters or how many yards it is. People don't understand it. We say, it's 4 football fields, because everybody has seen a football. Most people have seen a football field. They can imagine how big that is. 4 football fields. We don't talk about yards. So health and safety should be constantly improved, and there was you heard this before too. Also, when you were talking, Mr. Prosper, I think it was about ISO norms. ISO norms are not norms that it's not the law. The law is free. You don't pay for it. An ISO norm is more extended, more strict, and is actually a label you can get. You pay for an ISO norm to comply with the ISO norm. You will get certified, and you will have a certificate that has to be renewed yearly, that you will have to pay for the audit yearly, for the certification yearly, to prove to the outside world that you are a safe company. So that has to do also with image. That is the difference. But also in the ISO norms have a certain structure, and every ISO norm is built on that same structure. And improvement, leadership, those are actually things that are in those ISO norms. Now we have, unfortunately, I don't think you have had the privilege to meet our Mr. Leon, who works for the organization in Benin that is concerned with norms, and also Mr. Dr. Pierre Muelu is also a specialist in ISO norms, in norms, but all these countries come together and they make the ISO norms. You have local ISO norm, national norms, and then you have the ISO norms, which are a combination of all their research. And out of those norms, all those norms finally they get into the law, because the lawmakers see it and they say, actually, you did the research already, I studied it, and it seems a good idea to make it a law. And the law you get for free. Law texts you get everywhere, on the internet and so on, because everybody has to follow them. You need to know the law also, which is a big problem in my other country, Nigeria. I meet a lot of people, and also in this course, for example, people that say, yeah, but we don't have laws about contracts on the work floor and so on. We don't have laws about protecting personal information. There are laws about that. You just didn't look for it yet. So that's an important thing to know. You should look for the laws in your own country. They are not perfect, but they are not perfect here either. But as I said, that's a story for another day. We should improve it constantly. We have the plan, do, check, act technique, which is coming into every aspect of business. Also, we plan, do, check, act, as explained to you yesterday. But it has to be the standard that you set every time has to become better every year. I can hear somebody talking. Am I missing something?
No, go ahead, please.
Oh, okay. So communication. As you can see in my circle here, there is a misconception. It's not only about words, it's also about your tone of voice. And I've got news for you. This is an important thing. There is a biological difference between men and women. There is a misconception about feminism and so on, and the counterpart is then men that fight for men's rights. We do not want to be equal, because we are not equal. We wanted to be treated equal. That is a different thing. This means, for example, that you will listen to our ideas, to women ideas, as much as you listen to man ideas. And I can swear to you, if you go ask every woman in the room here, they will confirm my story, what I'm going to say here. I have experienced it many, many times, that I say something, and 2 minutes later, a man in the room says the same thing, repeats exactly the same thing, and then every other man in the room will turn and say, wow, that's a good idea. Well, you said it, and nobody said anything. it is one of those things. We are not biologically the same. That also means, like, for example, women are averagely, we talk about averages, and generally, that isn't really the personification of the truth, because we are all different, and we are all different in different things, and something that is easy for you is maybe difficult for me. That's why we are extremely unique, each and every one of us. But generally speaking, women's voices are higher. There are a lot of people that prefer their GPS to be a male voice, because it's easier to listen to understand, to follow the instructions. Why is that? Because women's voices are a higher pitch. Biologically, man cannot perceive higher tones as good as they can perceive lower tones. So I always say, when you want to talk to your man, your husband, your boyfriend about something, your father about something, your son about something, try to keep your voice low and speak in a calm manner. And I had actually advice to speak to everybody like this, because it's just more comfortable. If you go like, nobody will listen. They cannot help. Man cannot help but stop listening to you, because you make no sense. It's just one tone. So you need to speak in a lower tone of voice and calmly, and people will listen more to you when you speak calmly. Let's face it, if somebody is shouting at you, your ears go shut. If somebody is calling you names, your ears will go shut. You will not listen anymore to this person, because they have lost your respect. So another thing, and I'm going to put my video on and just go out of my sharing for a moment. You've got body language. So if you're speaking to a person and this person is in front of you and they're doing like this is a protective stance. If you cross your arms in front of you, I'm going to try to. If they're standing like this, they are defending themselves against what you are saying. If they are not looking at your face, they are absolutely not listening to you. If their feet are turned away from you, they are not listening to you. They are in an open mode when their feet are turned towards you, when their arms are relaxed next to their body. And I will tell you something. So I'm sorry, I should have put the spotlight, and my engineer is not working with me.
How it?
Yeah. Okay. So this triangle, your two eyes and your mouth. If you see somebody and you're talking to them and they're watching this triangle, it doesn't matter whether they watch like this or the sequence doesn't matter. If they are concentrated, if you see their eyes go to your mouth and to your left eye, right eye, that means they trust what you are saying. That's how interesting body language is. So how do I get out of the spotlight now? Okay. So back to the presentation, which will take too long. So it's an important thing to know these things. Well, it's interesting. It's fun. It's a fun study. Also color, for example. Too much information can lead to conspiracy theories. So preferably only tell the people what they need to know, and don't add too much information. Don't tell to one person the same thing in eight different ways, because they will stop listening to you. They will say you were nagging and you talk too much. Only say the things that matter. You should learn that. I'm sorry. You should learn that you are going to go into law texts, which is difficult language for a lot of people. You have to translate it into guidelines. Those guidelines should be complete and should leave no room for interpretation. You should think about the words you use, and if all the information is there, and if they can interpret it in a different way. And if you notice people are interpreting it in a different way, you should consider to change it or to add some words to make sure they understand exactly what it is about. Guidelines in life are very important, not only on the work floor, but everywhere. This is why the Bible is so successful, because there are guidelines to life. 10 Commandments, those are guidelines to life. So leadership, lead by example. I already told you. Manage yourself first. Choose very awarely, consciously how you want to show up. How do you want to show up? How do you want people to react to you? Because people react to you in a certain way because you show up in a certain way, because you behave in a certain way. And if you don't like how people are reacting to you, you should consider making an analysis of yourself and change that way. If you want people to listen to you, don't call them an idiot. Don't shout at them. Be nice and be understanding and listen to them also, not to defend, but listen to understand where they are coming from. That's how you gather how you build this trust which you need, because you need them to listen to you when you are giving them guidelines. So I will have to go over this a little bit quicker. Fear is a bad leader. Fear, and this brings me to my next slide actually. Fear is something that bosses use. Leaders don't use fear. Fear is where your boss is going to fire you when you do not do what he is saying, even when he's wrong. That is a boss. And the leader will involve you. They will listen to you. I already said, go to the work site, talk to the people. I've got another thing. I already off my video. So if people are talking, I'm here. Hi. If people are talking about things in their life, you talk to them, you go, and how are you? And what did you do this weekend? And they're talking about, oh yeah, I rode my motorbike, and my son went with me. What happens is my son is important because my voice goes up. These are business strategy, yeah. It's used by business people to make that rapport with other people so they can get good contracts. You do that too. You win their trust. So when it's something that is important to them, their voice will go up and their eyebrows will also go up, like my son and motorbike. That's how you know that's important. You remember those things. Huh? Next week you meet them. Huh? How is your son? And they will go like, especially when you remember their son's name, it's like, wow, they remembered my son's name. I must be really important to them. So I'm so happy that somebody cares about me and my life. I know this sounds silly and this sounds manipulative, but actually, when I was 10 years old, I decided who is my hero. My hero is Nelson Mandela, and I saw this man as this man is influencing so many people, inspiring so many people, because this was my journey also later in life when I became a prevention advisor and didn't know how to be a leader in my position where I was only an advisor. And I went to look for this knowledge, and all that I got from books was, let me go to my next slide, this, the boss and the leader. Well, I've got fantastic news for you. You do not have to have authority. You do not have to have a function with authority to be a leader. Being a leader is not in the function. It is in the way you present yourself, in the way you inspire people. And this to me is, when you have a boss, they manipulate. Manipulation is having people, convincing people to do what is good for you. Being a leader is actually also, it's closely related, inspiring people, making people do what you want them to do, not for you, but for them. And because it's good for them, you will profit also from it. Remember the chain with the weakest link. If you make the weakest link better, if you lift them up, if you give them the opportunity to develop, which a leader does, a leader is in between the team, is part of the team, will encourage people, will motivate people to develop, to make them feel important enough that they gain confidence and that they develop into a better employee. So it is good for them. And when it's good for, if all employees are feeling good, the company will have better production, will have better results, also in safety and health. They will have a connection. The employees will feel like it's their company. It's not just a company they work for, it's their company. So that is what a leader does, actually. I don't know if I made any sense because I'm skipping parts again. Yeah, so very important to know. As I said in the beginning, Mr. Hualaka was talking about the Bible story from paradise and Adam and Eve. There were risks in paradise because there was a snake and there was an apple. Well, actually, I heard something interesting, and that is also in the Bible. Adam and Eve didn't have a concept of what is bad and good. They just were in paradise, and they didn't have the knowledge because they didn't eat the apple yet. It's only God that said, do not eat the apple. But they didn't realize it was bad because they had no concept of bad or good. What I said, what I came to in my life, there is no good or bad. There is just is. So they bit the apple, and then they gained the knowledge of good and bad and so on. So what this means is, if you have children and they do something bad and you didn't tell them, don't sit with your shoes on the sofa, for example, and they do it and you didn't say anything, they don't know that it's not allowed to sit with your shoes on the sofa. It wouldn't be fair, it would be very boss-like to be angry with your kids, to punish them for something they didn't know they were doing wrong. First of all, you tell them, you give them the information that you shouldn't sit with your shoes in the sofa. And then you can even reason, which will encourage them because you're explaining it to them. You think they're important enough, you think they're an individual first, and not just a kid, but an individual first. You explain them, you went outside and maybe a dog pooped on the floor and you walked over it or peed on the floor, and now the pee is underneath your shoe, and your shoe will come into the sofa, so the pee will be on the sofa, and you explain it to them in a childlike way, and they will understand and they will say, yeah, it makes sense, and this is exactly what you do. And when they do it, then you can reprimand them, which is not a favorable technique. But it is necessary to have a stick behind the door, as they say here, when people are doing something wrong. So in job descriptions, you make sure you are clear in the contracts, which are the things that you cannot do in this company, or you will be fired after an oral warning, a written warning, and then you will be fired. For example, this is a standard thing in Western world. So you can learn from that if you have a company. So let's see. So the difference between a boss and a leader. You can watch that in your own time. So what we said, safety is everybody's business. So you have the hierarchic line. Business supervision goes from the top management to the managers, to the team leaders, to the employees. And then you have safety supervision, which goes everywhere. If an employee sees a manager doing something wrong, they can speak to their team leader or to the top manager or to another manager about it if that particular manager doesn't want to listen to the employee. Whistleblowers should be protected because safety and health is important. People can die for it. If there is an area, because it needs to be for everybody, you cannot weigh with two weights, as they say here, for the same thing. If an employee doesn't wear the hard hat where he's supposed to wear the hard hat, then he should be that should be addressed. If a manager comes there and he's not wearing the hard hat, he's in a suit, and he says, I'm not wearing the hard hat, even though I'm coming into a hard hat area, it should be addressed as well. Because it doesn't matter whether you are a manager or a top manager or a team leader or an employee or the king or the president, I don't care, we all die. And we all get protection by wearing a hard hat in hard hat areas. Safety, that doesn't make a difference. The Green Reaper doesn't make a difference between whether you are the king or a poor man. No matter how much money you have, how much power you have, if that comes for all of us. So, but if one of those employees who has been good at their job and a specialist, an expert in their job, make a promotion, they become a team leader. So an employee goes from here to the team leader. They become a team leader. It is necessary, because knowledge is necessary, especially if you change a function, because this is a function change. You're becoming from a person that manages a job to a person that manages people that are managing this job. You need education, you need training. That's something you should add in your suggestions for trainings. How to manage people instead of how to manage a job. You need competent persons. As I said, electricity has a whole library in Belgium. If you if you didn't follow a course about electricity, you are not allowed in the workplace to change a light bulb. You have to have followed a course, and it needs to be a list with the management. This person and this person and this person and this person are competent people. They can change the light bulb. Anybody who isn't on the list, and meaning who hasn't followed that course to be able to touch electricity, anybody who's not on the list cannot change the light bulb. Because some people will change the light bulb while the light is on, for example, which is dangerous. If you didn't follow the course, You are set at the same level as a child, for example, or somebody that is mentally impaired. Impaired, that was the word I needed earlier. So, as said, some words will make people stop listening to you. You have to have a positive approach. You don't say, and I know this is something that they say so much in Nigeria, calm down, calm down. I get upset when people are saying calm down to me, because I'm a really energetic person, but I'm calm. I'm sorry, I wanted to let somebody in and I messed up again. I'm usually calm, but people saying, "Come, Els, calm down. Don't be so nervous. You're making me nervous." But I'm just an energetic person, and it will get me upset. And in a younger age, I would start shouting, "I am calm. Stop saying I'm not calm. I am calm." It will come to that. It's triggering to me. It's provocative. So just say to the person, if they are really upset, just take their hands and look into their eyes and say, "Breathe with me." And blow your troubles away. You have recognized it. Now we are going to focus on the solution. We are not focusing on the problem anymore. We are going to focus on the solution, and we are going to do it together. Does anybody have some ideas? That's how you handle it as a leader. Encouragement works better than punishment. You sometimes need, well, punishment is a bad word, but a system where you can take away rights or things that you allow people, or areas that you allow people in, or maybe if it comes to that, if it's really unsafe behavior, you can just fire them. But encouragement works better. And Mr. Walaka has a story about this, but I will tell a different story so he can tell his story. If you, for example, every month choose the safest person in the company, and that person already has been 3 times the same person, so 3 consecutive months the same person was elected the safest person in the company, do you think the other persons are still going to make an effort to be the safest person in the company? So you really have to think about what you're doing with your punishment and also your encouragement, because it can work against you finally. So you have to plan, do, check, act. Then we have some, I'm going over this stuff, indicators, performance indicators, trailing indicators, and leading indicators. We have some explanations about what are trailing indicators. Like near misses, again, are accidents that just didn't happen. You just were lucky because you could have tripped, because there was a cable on the ground that was not covered. You stumbled, but you didn't fall. Falling is the accident. Stumbling and not falling is a near miss. You could have fallen, but you didn't. That's a near miss. And you can have all your results, so every month, or at least every 3 months, maybe even more, you have to make safety reports. What happened in the company? Did we have accidents? This is a big part of your job, is administration, I am telling you. Did we have accidents? Did we have near misses? What can we do about it? What are our plans for the coming 3 months? What do we want to make safer? Should we buy maybe safety shoes, new safety shoes, because the old ones are not so good anymore, or there is a better model on the market that we would profit from in our organization? What did we do in the past 3 months, or in the past month, depending on how big your company is and how many risks that company has. So it depends. An office environment is safer than a factory, for example. So you have to make a lot of analysis. Leading indicators is proactive. So the trailing indicators mean they are lagging behind, they are trailing behind. You've got a truck and then you've got a trailer. Trailing indicators are hanging behind, are after the accident, for example. You take your results and then you study them and then you make measures. Leading indicators are proactive, are prevention. You go to look to other companies, you go to research labs, you go to reviews of people that bought that machine that you are planning to buy. You compare the machines to one another. You are following the news. You are following, comparing it to the old machine, and then making sure, okay, this safety measure has been taken in the new machine, but that safety measure, that's risk on the old machine is still there in the new machine. So we have to make sure that this is covered. We have to make sure that there are not extra risks, like this new machine is not known by the people that worked at the old machines. So we certainly have to give training about how to use this new machine, because it maybe works differently in even a small way that can be dangerous. So we're going over this. You can study it in your own time. The benefits, as I told you also, again, are fewer incidents, fewer accidents. Yeah, I used the terminology a little bit different here. For me, incidents are occurrences, and then you've got near misses and accidents. But that's not what is in the course. So concentrate on the course for your exams, please. That is the manuals are the basis of your exams, not my slides. That's extra information. So better recruitment, as I said yesterday, if your company has a better image and has an image of taking care of their employees, higher educated personnel candidates will come to your company to work for your company. Insurance is not really a big thing yet in Africa, but insurance can be important. Can be interesting. We had the COVID thing, and I think it was badminton, Wimbledon, that somebody had decided to take an insurance for pandemic 7 years before, and while other companies lost everything, actually that organization, Wimbledon, I think it was, Wimbledon actually not gained, but could keep part of what they are usually making and not losing everything, because they had insurance against pandemic. Actually, the person that decided that in that organization should have gotten a promotion. I don't know if they did, but that was a sublime move. Nobody expects an accident to happen, but they still happen. Nobody expects a pandemic to happen, but it still happened. And Wimbledon had insurance for it. Good for them. A safe reputation means that your image will be lifted up to a trustworthy brand, because if you take care of your employees, you surely also have customer protection. You will take measures to protect your customers, because they are stakeholders as well, your customers. And if there are no customers, there is no income, there is no profit, there are no salaries, there is nothing. So these are all things. Better productivity, because they work more efficiently, because you took care of ergonomics, and the movements that people make are smaller, and the absences are less, because the human body is more respected in your workplace. There is a higher morale because your employees know that you care for them, and a happy worker is a good worker. They work willingly 100%, and they love to come to work. They don't run to be at home, and they're not just there to make a living. They are there to mean something. That is why you should make everybody is important. We had this COVID pandemic, and who were the most important persons there? You had the doctors and the nurses, but you also had the farmer that still brought food, and you had the truck driver that brought food to the stores, and then you had the people that were filling the racks who were empty, who were also really important at that time. Everybody is important in a company the same way. If one piece of your chain is missing, it's not a chain anymore. It's not a full circle anymore. Everybody is important. The cleaning lady that makes your environment clean is important because it protects your accountant from getting sick, from getting infected by germs, by bacteria. Everybody is important. So you have to measure. You have to make statistics, make analyses, assessments. Risk assessments is a very important part of your job. So I'm going over these slides to see. I know I'm hearing my phone. Probably I'm going over time. I have 2 minutes left. So elimination in the hierarchy of controls is 100% effective, because if you eliminate it, the risk is gone from your workplace. It's less applicable because you, for example, if you want to reduce the risk of warehousing and you follow the hierarchy of controls, you start with elimination. If you give the warehousing to a warehousing company, then you eliminate the risk of warehousing in your company. But if you are the warehousing company, there is no chance you will eliminate the risk of warehousing, because otherwise there is no company anymore. Your activity is gone. So elimination is not only always applicable. You can substitute something like a knife, a steel knife for a plastic knife, which doesn't cut into your skin like to open boxes, for example. Engineering controls are also called, in my country, we also call it collective protective equipment, CPE, because you're doing something to the environment to protect more people. Like, for example, in a car shop where you paint cars, you make a room for the car painting, so not everybody in the whole garage, in the workshop, is affected by the fumes of the paint in the whole workshop. It's just limited to one area with good suction and good filtering and so on, good ventilation. So you protect the people that are working there with protective personal equipment, like a mouth mask and goggles and so on. That is the PPE, which we all know. And then you have the administrative controls, which aren't only the guidelines and the trainings, but also fines, for example. Police can fine you for doing something wrong. That's an incentive. A bonus can also be administrative controls. Those punishments and encouragements can be administrative controls. And then PPE we know, but it depends on the goodwill of the employees. So that means if you want to wear them, you wear them. If you don't want to wear them, maybe you don't wear them. So they are less effective, because that person that went to The hairdressers yesterday, they don't want to mess up their hair and don't want to wear the hard hat. And then you have to go up to this person and tell them, I care for you. And your family cares for you. You are not replaceable. I'm sorry. You are not replaceable to them because you are part of their emotional life. They are emotionally attached to you. You are my friend. I am emotionally attached to you. There is nobody like you in this world because you are extremely unique because you grew up in a certain country with a certain biology, with a certain language and certain religion and belief systems that the people around you helped you set, helped you personalize, internalize. The people on your school, your education, your upbringing, your experiences, all of those things make who you are, your character. They all make you such a unique person that there is nobody on the earth that has ever walked on the earth that was the same as you, and there will never ever be anybody that will bring to this world the value that you can bring into this world because you are this extremely unique. You are unique as a human being, even because you were the sperm that survived. How special is that? There were millions of sperms, but you came out of this. This is how unique you are. So we've got on, because I know some people have a problem with this. This is another example of this hierarchy of control. So when you receive the slides, you can focus on it more, study it a little more. Yeah, I said a lot of things already, so we're going through it. This is just a list I added. It's not complete because there are always innovations and we always need other new safety and health measures and so on. But this is a good place to start to give you an idea. If you start with a company or in a company that doesn't have a lot of safety and health policies, this is a great place to start, where you maybe should consider a risk analysis, risk assessment from. Yeah, this was also touched upon already. And administration, again, you should check your local laws. You should check the global laws. You should check your country's laws. You should check your local laws, because maybe your city has different laws than another city, which in Belgium is the case. In some places you cannot sing on the streets. In some places you cannot make music in your car. In some places you cannot eat on the steps of the town hall, for example. These are all specific to the cities here. You have to make sure you follow the rules of your industrial field, and then of the company also. You should combine all of those things, and please follow the strictest rules. Yeah, you have to protect your company, which is the legal entity, the legal person. That legal person is represented by natural persons, which are your management and maybe some other people that are not constantly in your company. You should protect your employees, but you should also protect yourself, because this is important. As I said, you could end up regretting not speaking up, not saying anything about health and safety. The same thing goes here. But you should also make your boundaries. If you are here probably because you care about people. You are here whether you have chosen to be here or you are asked here to be here from your boss. They say they care about people. You have to care about people. You don't have to care about being popular, because you will not be popular. You will make decisions, as said, about their needs and not about what they want. So sometimes it will not be what they want, like wearing a hard hat, but you will tell them you care for them. But it depends. You need to decide, how far are you going to go? Are you going to protect these people? Like you notice that some person is abused at home, and what will you do? Will you give them? Will you let a speaker come to the company to speak about abuse at home, or will you give them some addresses where they can get help, or will you take them into your house? You need to protect yourself from compassion fatigue. That's what a lot of doctors and nurses have, because they see the misery every day in their life from people that are losing their health and so on. So we said that already. Don't consider common sense as something general. As said, people focus on different things. To some people, it's important, all these social media, all these pictures, how they look, superficial things, and so on. But they are focused on that, and that is a wonderful thing. We celebrate diversity, but we as safety and health professionals shouldn't judge that, but should take that into account when we make guidelines. That not everybody is focused on health and safety. You're here in the class. These people on these pictograms were not in a safety and health class. You can be sure of it. But it's necessary to have these cautions. So this is a little bit more information about how you should be. No, I'm not here to tell you how you should be. I'm not here to tell you how you should think. I'm here to spark your brain, because you have a unique brain, and I want to spark it because I know what value will come out of it. Just 2 quick tips. This ready-made. If you have to have a measure and present it to the management, make it already something that is ready-made. They don't have to think about it. They don't have to research about it. You already did that. Take this Zoom app, make a presentation that they only have to sit in their chair and listen to what you have to say and see the statistics that you are showing them and the results and the possible good things that come out of it. But use also the power of choice. If you go to a child and you say, you have to eat more fruit, and you give them an apple, they will say, I don't like apples. But then if you go to them and you say, I have an orange, banana, and an apple, which one do you choose? They will more likely choose one of the 3 options and not immediately go to, I don't like fruits. So go to your management, make already 3 suggestions how to tackle a problem, how to make a certain issue safer, and take it in different price tags, but make sure even the cheapest one, because it's likely that they will choose the cheapest one, or the middle one, and not the most expensive one. So make sure all 3 options are really good. So that's just a big tip I want to give you. And the rest is for your entertainment when you receive the slides. There you go. Thank you for listening.